Well, what we're trying to do is to talk about the importance of reconciliation in a modern context, and to and get teachers and educators apprised of what's required for reconciliation and a good understanding of the background. In Saskatchewan, I think it's really clear that the social and economic future of Saskatchewan requires us to get reconciliation right.
And what was the number one thing you wanted someone to take out of your session? Because I learned a lot personally through it, but was there something that you wanted to strive for in it?
Well, I wanted to talk about the rights of citizenship, but also the responsibilities that go with those rights, and how you build respect for every citizen, because every human being deserves equal moral consideration. So in terms of the responsibilities coming out of that, there is a responsibility for all Canadians to see that the treaty rights and the treaty relationship is implemented according to the spirit and intent of treaty. That's required for reconciliation. And a recognition of Indigenous rights. And I didn't get a chance to talk to it about it, but I say there's an intersectionality between Indigenous rights, treaty rights, and human rights, and that intersection shows up in education, health, justice, child welfare, employment, and housing.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I did learn a lot throughout your session of just mostly all these rights and how we were ignoring them for so long.
Right.
And what steps do you think Canada has taken in order to really bring that into focus? Are we, as a country, doing really important things to bring this out, or is it just localized kind of?
Well, across Canada, we've got the Truth and Reconciliation Report and its call to action, and there is action happening in a number of places. I know the 15 major universities in Canada are outreaching for reconciliation, and I know in the Saskatchewan context, a number of agencies are doing the same thing. So there's a willingness to have a reconciliation, but one of the problems is before you can reconcile, you have to know why you're reconciling, and the history and the past, the future has to be part of the vision.
Right, and that's something we can focus on with education. Right?
Education's critical. I have a great reverence for education because we need to change the culture in the community to one of better understanding, and we can do that through education. And I have great respect for professional educators in Saskatchewan for sure, because I've seen them work.
Right. Do you have anything that you wish education would focus on more to understand what's happening, or do you think we're achieving so much as we can, or do you think we should strive for more?
I think educators should strive to produce a student who's been with, from grades K to 12, so 13 grades, and at the end of those 13 grades, a student should be an enlightened student, an empathetic student, an ethical student, an empowered student, and an engaged student. And if teachers get that result, we'll all be better off, because we'll have a great citizenry and a great country.
Right, yeah. It is said that, what shapes you in school really does shape a generation.
Absolutely true, correct. You're right.
And do you think with residential schools and all that, when do you think people are going to start bringing out more into communities? Because I know throughout my education, we did not go way into depth about residential schools. Mm-hmm. Do you think eventually that will happen? We'll learn, more about what happened? We'll stop doing an overview and more of an in-depth field?
Well, the Saskatchewan Human Rights Commission has created a pedagogy from grades K to 12, rights, responsibility, and respect, that answers the question, what does it mean to be a Canadian citizen? What are the rights of citizenship, but also what are the responsibilities that go with those rights? And how do you build and maintain respect for every citizen? Inside that pedagogy, we have incorporated, we're all treaty people teaching treaties in the classroom, and we've also incorporated the residential school experience. So as that pedagogy starts to see its way into the schools of Saskatchewan, you won't miss it, because teachers will be teaching you about that, which is really part of what the Truth and Reconciliation Commission has recommended in its call to action. Not to forget this, but to teach about it. So number one, it's understood because it explains the morass that we're in vis-a-vis Indigenous people in Canada, and the lack of respect that they have from other Canadians, and we need to change that.
Yeah. Do you know what other provinces and territories are doing in Canada to help promote this education at all, or is that more just we're localizing more on Saskatchewan, less on the prairies?
That's a great question, Portia. Okay, this pedagogy was developed in Saskatchewan, but we intend to transfer it to every jurisdiction in Canada. We have a strategic alliance with the Canadian Museum of Human Rights in Winnipeg, so that'll be the clearinghouse for this. So hopefully teachers and classes throughout Canada will be able to avail themselves of this pedagogy. We want to export it. We actually have a lot of interest from outside of Canada, from Finland, Israel, United States, and Australia, because they know what we're doing. We're the only place in the Western world where we're proposing to do citizenship education with the intensity and the rigor that we are doing here in Saskatchewan, and we want to export that.
Is there like a 5-year plan for that, or is it just the more we go, the better it's getting? Do we have a set goal, like we want this to all be done in 2020, or?
Right. We don't have an exact timeline. We first want to see it well implemented in Saskatchewan, but at the same time, we are talking to other jurisdictions right now about exporting it as soon as we can. The short answer is we need this as soon as possible. The reality is it may take some time.
Right. And I really did love your guys' breakout session. I thought it was quite interesting. And I love the way that you guys brought it to attention. Just the fact that I never knew that we had so many, like there were so many rules, like the 43?
Right.
Yeah, those ones. And I love the fact that you had highlighted all of the ones about education and stuff. And because it really does start with education, I think.
It starts and ends with education, so education has to be done well. My goal is really to change the culture in the community by changing the culture in the school, because the teachers have the future. They mold the student. You pointed that out earlier. It's really true. And so we need educators to be able to equip our new citizens, when they're exercising their full citizenship at 18 years old, voting, exercising democracy rights, to be part of a change in the way that our relationships work in this country. This is one country where we can get it done, because we've got the recipe for harmony.
We do. We are such a multicultural country. And I like to think that at the end of the day, we do try our hardest to see everyone for the different cultures we have. But again, from history, we have, not at times. But I just want to say thank you for taking the time to do this interview. It means a lot to me. Your breakout session was quite great.
Thanks.
I really hope to see.
I've got one thing to answer to your question. The Aga Khan came to Canada in 2010, and he said that Canada is the most successful experiment in pluralism the world has ever seen, and he's absolutely right. But there's a fragility attached to that. It's directly related to the knowledge and understanding and commitment all Canadians have to a multicultural, multi-theist, multi-ethnic country. And the way we reinforce that understanding is through education. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your help.
Good.